In today's podcast, I'm going to address the following issue. If you're a small business owner, chances are you are like the other 95% of small businesses in your industry and you're in a super competitive market. So what I want to talk about today is 4 key ways to help you to stand out in the competitive space and the competitive industry that you're in. If I look at all the businesses that are out there, businesses that inquire with us, most are just the same as every other business in their industry. And it's probably only about 5% of businesses that we speak to that are in a unique category or have created their own category with zero competition, which obviously then has its own challenges. One, they're not competing with other businesses, but what they are doing is they're having to educate the market about what they do because of what they do is so new. Now, if you're a business, like I said, of 95% that are like everyone else in the industry, I want to discuss 4 key ways that we help our clients to stand out from their competitors. So the first is based on your location. So what do I mean by that? Generally, depending on the industry, most people, consumers, whether they be consumers or whether they be business consumers, or I should say personal consumers or business consumers, they want to buy from local if they can, or a business that they can relate to. Now, one way to relate to a business is by its location. So if you know a business that you want to buy from is within close vicinity to you, or you've seen their building, or you've seen their shop front, then it makes it a little bit more personal, a little bit more trustworthy. You know that they exist and are legitimate. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about how can you communicate to your audience about where you provide your offering, or where you service, or where you can send your product to, depending on the industry that you're in. So let's use an example. We're in Sydney here, so if I take an area of Sydney called the Sutherland Shire. So if you run a business in the Sutherland Shire, it's critical that you communicate the fact that you operate and you service the Sutherland Shire area. You may be based in the Sutherland Shire, but you service Australia-wide. Maybe you're selling products online. So if that's the case, talk about the fact that you do Australia-wide and that you service Australia. People can relate, I should say, to the location that you are providing the service. It makes it a bit more real. It makes it less generic. It makes them know that you're not an overseas-based company, but that you're based here in Australia or based in the Sutherland Shire, and that you can, and they can resonate with that. So if you play out this example, so let's pretend that I wanted to utilize a plumbing service, and one service said that they are, the drainage experts in the Sutherland Shire, versus the other company that just says draining experts in Sydney. If I'm based in the Sutherland Shire, one, I have less competition because I'm really focused on my location and my expertise in that location, versus 2, and also the second benefit is that because I'm saying that I'm based in the Shire, people in the Shire can resonate with that and are attracted to that, versus if I say I do Sydney-wide, there would be gazillion plumbers that can service Sydney-wide, and if I'm in the Sutherland Shire, I'm not choosing the Sydney-wide company, I'm choosing the Sutherland Shire one. Now, I know what businesses are thinking, but I'm eliminating the rest of Sydney. Sure, you can think that way, or you can think, how about the crapload of competition that I have to compete with? Surely there's enough business in the Sutherland Shire, and position yourself as an expert in the Sutherland Shire in what you do and really communicate that consistently. So location, that's the first way to differentiate yourself. Second is the product or service that you're offering. Can you narrow the focus of what you offer to be a real expert in what you provide, whether it's a product or a service? Can you position yourself as an expert in that particular offering? People want to deal with experts in their field, so really want to make sure that you can try to position yourself as an expert. businesses will often think that by limiting their offering, they're limiting the potential customers. Remember, like the location example that I gave, having some expertise and really having a focus about how you help people and what you do in terms of your service or product offering is key. So let's use the Sutherland Shire example again. Let's go back to the plumber example again. Let's pretend that they're the drainage experts, and that's what they really focus on. Now, it might be that you already have that specialty. The problem is that you have that specialty, but you don't communicate that specialty. You want to make it really obvious to people about what you do and how you actually help them and the problems that you're solving. The third way to help you stand out is the target audience. So again, can we communicate really clearly and focus in on who our target audience is? So let's use the plumber again. Maybe they focus specifically on the residential market. Maybe they focus specifically on commercial buildings. Maybe they focus specifically on strata. You need to try to have a focus in terms of who your audience is so that you can really communicate that. Again, I use the example. Imagine I'm a strata company and I need to engage a plumber. If I see a plumber that does plumbing for everybody and they're based in Sydney, versus I see a plumber that's based in the Sutherland Shire that focuses on the strata industry. It's pretty obvious who I'm going to choose to come and service my strata building. Be straight to the point about who you service and how you're helping them. And the fourth way to try to create some differentiation we've kind of touched on is that leadership and expertise. Can you communicate in your marketing communication some level of experience, expertise, leadership, specialty within what you do and who you provide it for and where you provide it? So if you use the plumber again, let's just say that he can say that he's the expert plumber in the Sutherland Shire, or he's the one that's been around for 20 years, or that's his specialty. So again, you're reinforcing that you're an expert in that, who your audience is, where you do it, and what your actual offering is. So you've really combined, so ideally, those four areas, location, audience, offering, and expertise, if you can communicate all four of those in your marketing communication, whether it's your website, whether it's your social, I always use a website as an example. You know, the website banner is always a way to think about how you're going to best communicate. So if someone goes to your website, are they going to know straight away by the message that's on your banner exactly what you do, why you're the expert, and who you do it for and where you do it? So like I always say, we know business is hard, and what makes it even harder is that it is so competitive. So if you're starting out a business, have a think about how are you going to be different. Can you use those four criteria to try to stand out from the competition, eliminate some competition? If you're an existing business, take the time, invest the time, get your team together, have a think about, can those four criteria help you to stand out from the competition, at least eliminate some of that competition, and start to communicate those four elements of point of difference. The key is just getting a start and starting to communicate what you do and why you're different. You probably do some of those key elements already. The issue is that you're just not communicating. And what we see a lot with businesses that come to us is they do have a point of difference. They can eliminate some of the things that they do to really find an expertise and a focus. We just facilitate that process for them. So spend the time, invest the time now to save you heartache later, and to make sure that if you are doing marketing, that it is effective and it is cutting through, because you really are communicating what we call a positioning, where you position yourself in the minds of your customers, where there's the least amount of competition, I should say. All our podcasts and videos, we talk about positioning, so maybe have a go listen to those and start to communicate and create that point of difference. Thanks, guys.